Greetings, fellow survivors. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series where I try to find a balanced setting for Unstable Build 42. If you would like to skip the setup of these server settings, please use YouTube chapters. In terms of gameplay mechanics that I think B42 introduced, that probably needs adjusting. So if I go to the solo here and go to the custom sandbox, we can think this through. So let's say let's start in somewhere like Maldra, because it's going to be more obvious if the rebalancing has worked in combat situations. I'm just going to call this run 2. So, let's see. They did change the day length, if I'm not mistaken, by default. So for zombie count, I would say low is... Well, the first thing we probably want to do is to load a preset. So I'm going to load a preset of Survivor, not Apocalypse. And then zombie count, I'm going to put low. Urban focus is fine. Respawn's fine. Migration is fine. So on lower zombie count, you'll obviously have to clear fewer of them than, than the default. Which I think makes a lot more sense. Let's see. I'm fine with drag down. I can leave that back on. I think it's reasonable that zombies drag you down, even on survival difficulty. And then I can leave all of the peak variables alone. Let's see. Maximum looted building chance. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, they've introduced a new mechanic where buildings will be looted when you get there, which is fine. What is the normal? Just normal? I didn't really run into that in Echo Creek because I got to all the buildings in Echo Creek well before they would have reasonably been looted by other people. But the max looted chance is day 56. So after like 2 months, most of the the maximum amount of buildings to be looted will be looted, and I think that makes sense. Loot rarity, I don't really have an issue with any of that. World. So... This is Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I see. So the random 0 through 30 days for electricity and water. Alarm battery decay. Which is new. I think that's for house alarms, which is cool. Light bulb lifespan. This one is stupid. I'm going to hit 0. It's always a point of contention with me. We're like, light bulb shouldn't burn out every day. Food spoiling is fine. Yes. Some of these changes, like the alarm battery decay, does make a lot of sense. Now, I don't think that in here is the car battery drain rate, which is unfortunate because that needs to fix. I'm not really sure what value numbers need to fix farming, so I'm going to leave this alone, knowing that farming doesn't work. Farming essentially is not a mechanic that you can rely upon anymore, which is fine. Kill crops grown inside, which is new. Does not affect houseplants, though, and growing seasons. None of this really matters. This is a big one. Farms not on ground level, so if you want rooftop farms and things like that, like you used to, obviously you have to toggle that, but I'm going to leave that alone. Meta events. Helicopters, sleeping, generator fuel. I think all these are probably fine. The only thing I would say is, with the new meta that, like, you can't discard zombie corpses easily, I kind of wish that they just decayed a lot faster, because in its current state, if you want to get rid of zombies' corpses, you have to kind of bury them where they are, which is super silly, because in real life, dragging a body 20 feet to like a dumpster versus like digging out a hole every time you bury a zombie. Like those two things are not even the same order of magnitude in terms of effort. So I do think they really missed the mark on how to get rid of zombie corpses. So I kind of wish that you could, I mean, the time before corpse removal, given that like dragging them is such an unrealistic thing to do, I think even putting like 72 or something like that might make a lot more sense in this setting. Because of how impossible it is to clean up large areas now in a frustratingly pointless way. So there is the trait free points. I would say if you're planning on fighting many zombies, reducing muscle strain factor, I think it's too much. One thing I think they should do is link that to like strength and fitness, which it is not. I think if you're strong or fit, you should have a lot less muscle strain as a result. So I'm maybe even okay having muscle strain factor as 1, but I do think it should be one of these things that, much like the panic system, where you get really panicked early on and then less panicked over time. If you're doing strenuous activity for like months in Zomboid, you should not be getting a high level muscle strain after month 1, right? Like at that point, you've built up the muscle to deal with the everyday rigors of zombie survival. It shouldn't be like, oh god, I lifted a gas can for 3 minutes and I'm gonna fall over. Like, that's just stupid. So, I think muscle strain factor needs to be redesigned, honestly, to take into consideration fitness, strength, and time. That's just me. So what are some of the other things in character? Experience level rate. So another big one is that it takes forever to level up anything. They disabled the dismantling XP level. I think what's weird about that is like certain things like electronics you can still dismantle, but a lot of things like carpentry you can't. But if you're trying to balance it out, I would say like even a ×3 global modifier or ×2 global modifier for XP makes sense. And then if you're trying to be more reasonable, like a 5 for physical things, like strength and fitness, like a 3 for your nimble sneaking, and then no, that should be a 3, not a 30. And then for everything else, like a ×2 might feel a little bit more balanced. Maybe not for the most veteran players, but of course these aren't settings for veteran players. Just because of how ridiculously long it takes to grind certain skills. That, oh, phone's ringing. That doesn't really make sense. Especially given that they've, like, doubled the amount of skills that you have. So, doubling the amount of skills that you have and then having them take a very long time to grind and disabling the dismantling mechanics. Add all that together and you end up with a situation where, like, trying to get a skilled player takes forever. Vehicles I don't really have much of an issue with, except for, is there battery drain? No. Because that's a big problem that I would assume is going to hit. I mean, once this is released to multiplayer, I assume it's going to hit multiplayer servers even worse. Because if you join a multiplayer server in progress, every car that you ever find is going to have dead batteries. And then livestock. I haven't played enough with livestock to really know, to feel like if there's changes here to be made. But yeah, I would say these are pretty reasonable changes to make the game feel a little more balanced, in my opinion. One of the other things that people had mentioned is to make ammo a lot more common. So if you don't want to change multi-hit or zombie health or zombie numbers or things like that, and you're like, all right, fine. Fighting zombies in hand-to-hand combat should be hard. You know, to clear out swarms by hand should be difficult. Ammo is just too stingy to do it. So a lot of veteran players are also saying, hey, if you want it to feel a little bit more like a balanced gameplay mechanics raise the ammo commonality up, especially given that the changes of the buildings being pillaged by like bandits or other survivors is now a thing. You could go to like a gun store and have it be completely looted now. So bullets became a lot less common in this version, and raising the loot rarity for ammo can go a long way to fixing that. So let's call this Survivor Test. Some theorized changes to make things feel a bit more like B41. There's another one where I feel like I don't necessarily disagree with the balance, but traits that people relied upon for trait points now have been nerfed, or well, I'll put it this way. In order to feel like you have a powerful character, in B41 it was easier to sort of min-max traits, where it isn't now. I'm not going to add free trait points, but that's another thing you could do, is give yourself a little bit more free trait points so that you don't feel weak. So this was my character that I had before. I would say that Clumsy is probably one worth removing. And then maybe because farming doesn't work, I'll remove Outdoors. Outdoorsy or whatever it was. So I have, I remove Clumsy and I remove Gardener, rather. I'm just looking it over now, but it looks fine to me. If I want to, well, so the other thing is, if I want to use my, like, outdoors skills, obviously starting a Muldra is going to be a bit of a disadvantage. What I think I'm going to have you guys do quickly is vote on where to start. So, going from most populous to least populous would be like Muldra, West Point, Riverside, Rosewood, Echo Creek, something like that. So if you want like more rural setting, Echo Creek would still be the winner. If you want more city settings, Muldra would be the winner, and then everything in between. So if we take a look at the full map right now, you've got Riverside here next to Brandenburg and Fallis Lake. So taking a closer look, we have the West Maple Country Club. We've got gas and repair out here. I think there's a bar here as well. Brandenburg has gas, police, church, gas, shopping, some sort of inn. Down here in Ekron, you've got a fire station, gas station, church. Pretty small. There's other points of interest there. Irvington, you have some real services there. It's a kind of a bigger city at the edge of the world map. This doesn't do Muldra justice. Muldra is a lot larger than the others, I think. And then you've Rosewood and March Ridge in here. Rosewood is a pretty low pop. Same with Riverside, to be honest. It looks like I'm just going to say Riverside's where it is. That seems to be... Oh no, Riverside and Echo Creek are tied. Have I ever been to Louisville? Yes. I've had many runs where I just play exclusively in Louisville, so... So, what do you guys think of the changes that I've made here? In terms of trying to rebalance B42 for, like, the average player. Some of it is, like, life bulb span is just silly. But others, like corpse removal or muscle strain factor, multi-hit, XP modifiers, I think makes it a more playable experience, in my opinion. So let's give this a... I mean, it is Survivor Task, so let's give it a run. See how it feels. So we've got carving, foraging, napping, light-footed, maintenance, nimble. Oh, the other thing is now that a lot of recipes require maintenance 1. having some sort of maintenance XP boost is like even bigger than it used to be. Maintenance, I really don't understand why they tied it to a bunch of crafting things. But they did. And I guess we're going to be Oren Levy. Got it. Works for me. So let's jump in and see how it feels. Give me 1 minute to reset the tracker that I have here. Okay, tracker is reset. Cool. Well, empty bleach bottle. Guess we'll grab that right away. The radio does not have an alert. The emergency channel, that is. Already have a can opener and a fillet knife. It's not a bad starting, Was that a poster? Oh, read. I misclicked. Dude, you're holding it backwards. Are you sure you're illiterate? It's just backwards. Okay. Well, knowing that, like, everything requires an immense amount of calories, I'll just start making pork chops and shrimp before we even leave this house. The other thing I could do is to be a lot pickier about what keys I bother picking up. Because there's certainly no shortage of keys that just, like, won't ever matter. Like, I don't need keys for this house. The house you start in shouldn't be locked by default, so I don't really need keys to fix that. Scout's Injury Guide. Well, that's about the extent of what can be found in here. You don't have a single point in maintenance even though the description says melee combat. So, there's a bug, if I'm not mistaken, where if the weapon is also a tool, it won't level up your maintenance. So not all weapons give maintenance now, which is probably why you don't have a single point in maintenance. So you might need to switch what melee weapons you're using so that you can build up maintenance. That's just like from what I've read. So take it with a grain of salt, but that's what I've been told. Oh, we got a basement here. So, for instance, if you're like using, I'm gonna make things up, but like maybe using a hammer because it's a tool won't count for maintenance, whereas using something that is exclusively a weapon will. You've been using steel, lead, and lead pipes. Well, whatever the case is, just change it up. I mean, I'll be blunt, there's so many bugs with this current version that it's really hard to tell, like, where you're going wrong or where the game is bugged. Bit of column A, bit of column B, bit of both. That would be my guess, is some weapons just don't build maintenance. Even if they should. And, I like how it says cow's milk. Yes, opposed to... Well, I guess there is goat milk and sheep milk now. Masonry 1 and welding 1. Nice early finds. Nothing like a good flashlight early game. Do I have long socks? I do not. Perfect. That soup's probably gonna burn. No, still fresh. So the purse is what, not a bag? That's upsetting. Yeah, that's house number 2. There was some, like, pots and pans I could potentially use as weapons. I just don't have an interest in doing that. But a whole empty pot full of soup? Sure. This is a survivor house. I don't know if I'll be able to get in. But if I can, that'd be nice. Oh no, maybe, well, it's definitely a survivor house with the amount of stuff that's in here. Club hammer. A schematic for a barbed wire wrap weapon. Oh, good. Lacerated immediately. Oh, yep, go. To my hand. I start with a belt. I'll take antibiotics. Good old suture needle. Tweezers. Gloves. Belts are apparently a good source of leather. That's funny. Baseball bat. That's nice. And a catcher's vest. Huh. It's not too uncomfortable with pretty good protection stats. I should start moving things from my inventory to my backpack. Also, didn't even check what was in the backpack. A map. Curious if it's a map of, canteen. If it's a map of this survivor house, that'd be funny. No, this is Louisville. I'm, like, not gonna get over the fact that, like, I can't clean rags in a sink anymore. Like, that's gonna stump me so many times. For sure. Nova Pops. Is that like... Oh, I don't know what that is. Let's grab some more rags for later. And probably the best way to clean rags is... No? Okay. Apparently not like that. Fill the bleach bottle. And then clean. Okay. I don't want... Okay, the pot's already empty. Good. Fresh cornbread. So I'm a little bit over my carry weight. I'm going to move some things around to lower that. I would say the big thing, and let me update the priority here. Find a working car. That's always a big need early on. All right, so backpack's full, and I'm already over encumbered, so I'm going to drop the pot. Yeah. There's not much else I can do in terms of weight yet. Are rags better than bandages? No, I just don't have bandages. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you bandage yourself with, as long as it's clean. The game doesn't really care all that much in terms of recovery time and things like that. If it's sterilized, that's better, but I applied alcohol to the wound, so it doesn't really need to be. So adding a sterilized bandage on top of that would be redundant. I think I'm gonna go this way. I'm still a little bit over my carry weight though, and I'm curious if there's something obvious for me to drop so I can be within weight. Maybe I'll just eat. When in doubt, consume. No, I don't want the Mechanics 5. The chance of me reading Mechanics 5 is basically 0. I'm only trying to grab things I have a chance to use. Oh, drop the Mechanics 5? Oh yeah, I don't know why. That came in the backpack I had, I think. So that's why I had it. You were right. So there was some... I don't know what's going on with that backpack and box over there, but maybe that's a vehicle to be grabbed. Nothing in there. I should probably just try to go for pushes, given my injury. Because baseball bats are going to be massively ineffective with an injured hand. Oh, well, but here's the numbers that require me to hit. So one of the things I've been curious about is the balance of muscle strain given multi-hit. Am I going to keep the gun this run? I never got rid of the gun last run. I just didn't use it. One of the situations where, like, being out in the middle of the woods in a rural environment, you don't really need to fire a gun for the volume of zombies you have to deal with. Whereas here, I might. Alright, that dude has a duffel bag. That's going to be even better than I currently have. Oh, and we have some bandages. So I guess that, I couldn't tell from a distance, but I guess that's like an old briefcase. Beat up briefcase or something. So duffel is 1865, and then this bag that I have is less, I think. 1570? Ooh. No, maybe I'll go with I'll stick with what I've got. Holds less, but counters more. Where do babies come from? So this has keys. I'll mark that down. It does not, however, have a gas, I don't think. Nope. It's not in horrible condition. It's not great, but I've seen worse. So if I got to the nearest gas station, we could get this running. And then we can go wherever we want. Gonna eat all the junk food that I found. And let's see. Where am I exactly? Okay, I know where I am now. So if I want a lot of books, pretty good spot to be in. Let's go ahead and with red marker, because it's out of fuel, we will put a tire or steering wheel here. And now we know that we have a vehicle in this area, but it is out of gas. So if this is the school, the gas station is going to be west of me. But it might be a bit of a slog depending on how many zombies we're going to find. So we'll work our way that way. It's also possible that we find a different working car on the way over, too. Sure, give me location of West Point DIY. Now, I had mentioned in previous streams, it's useful until you have the entire map to label these. So you have, so all of your points of interest that you've mapped out is labeled. I kind of wish it did it automatically. A bottle opener, that might be useful. Not too interesting going into each individual house, so I'm just going to move on. My hands are no longer bleeding. I mean, of course, I could be a zombie, I don't even know yet. Why did the window sound like a head being smashed? New sound mechanics, I guess, for like broken windows and doors and things. So this was the survivor house, but I didn't even notice that there was a car in the driveway. We are not in luck. Yeah, there are a bunch of cars around. But none with keys as far as I could tell. An ambulance accident ahead? I should get in the habit of checking more of the mailboxes. Oh no, that wasn't Louisville, that was Brandenburg. Oopsie. Brandenburg Fire Department. Okay, so we're not that far from Brandenburg. And that's LSU. Louisville State. I keep forgetting that garbage bags are now like loaded full of nested loot. Perfectly good salsa. And perfectly good tomato paste. So the purpose of this run is just to see if I feel like this is good server settings for B42. To sort of recreate the feel of B41 in terms of speed and progression and balance. I don't have a good feel yet. Another no key. Stethoscopes, nice. Probably want bandages. At some point I can, let's just use this. Disinfect with the wipe. And that hurt. Yeah, of course it did. Pen light, ah. Oxygen tanks, painkillers. Medical shears, trauma bag. So the trauma bag is the same as the double. I think if we want to open it up, I have to like grab it and put it on the ground. Yeah. Oh no, never mind. We had already opened it. All right, we're good. Make a quick pit stop into the. I didn't check the other vehicle, but they're both pretty busted. See if there's something in this. Long, nice. I meant to take the painkillers after disinfecting the wound. I forgot. Because the pain that you experience in game slows down your like attack rate. See, two identical injuries, one with painkillers and one without, you'll attack faster with the painkillers. Oh, she was a police with a nose stud. I've never seen a police officer with a nose stud. I guess there's a first for everything. So this is hit vids on the right there. Riverside hit vids. If we wanted to poke into that. That's not really the plan. I do want to run in car so that I can fill its trunk full of the loot that we've got. Building up a giant nest egg of loot and having nowhere to store it and nowhere to transport it kind of sucks. So, Foss Oil, South Louisville. Or Louisville, whatever you want to call it. This, I would need a hose to siphon. Okay. I did pass up a hose earlier. Apparently there's fuel in this car. Let's double check how much. Yeah, 24. Okay. It's in really remarkably good condition, but I don't have keys to it. Getting drowsy. It's 8 p.m. Hoping to fix my thirst problem, but not with alcohol. So, into the bathroom. Oh, it's not a bathroom. Lots of booze in here. I mean, as it should be. It's a liquor store. Maybe keys in the desk? I could always check. No emergency channel yet. No keys. There's a lot of other storefronts around here that could have keys or useful magazines. Like this one. Welding magazine. The Sunstar is in Louisville, I think? No, Muldrow. Okay. Maybe I'll try to... I'm gonna need to hole up somewhere eventually. Search for the keys around? I don't know if they've changed the chance to loot keys from this from previous ones. But I've seldom had luck with trying to find keys in that way, so... Oh my god, Spivos. Advertising much? You got... Three trailers and 2 vans in your parking lot here. Spiffo, 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 spiffo. What is that, a... Oh, okay. It looked for a second like a lifted truck. Now the question is, do I take soda? Liquid crack. If I'm not really done with my goals of finding a working car, maybe I do. Alright, that should be in here, right? It'd be nice if I had keys to that thing. So it is a proper landscaping vehicle, full of paver stones and fertilizer. Well, not full, but it's got some of that stuff in. And an empty gas can, which, if we do eventually want to fuel up a car, would be nice to have. No keys, though. The Spiffle vans look like they're in remarkably good condition too. I don't see any keys lying around them though, so unless they're in the ignition, that's a non-starter. Well, more caffeine. And I guess we'll eat a burger and fries. I'd like to think that these aren't Spiffo burger and fries. Like a Spiffo employee went over to a different restaurant. In real life, that's not that uncommon. I mean, if you work at like a burger joint, there's only so many burgers a week that you would want to eat from work until you're like, all right, I yearned for something else. Thank you for tuning in to Project Zomboid Balanced Unstable 42, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 14th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow survivors.